I need a big sip of water before we get to close the kitchen, my friends. And if you know me, you know I love a big sip of water. It's really how I'm made. More is more. It really proves, I'm not just the hair club president. I'm also a member. So anyway, hey gang, Molly Carmel here, fiercely devoted to your freedom. Happy Monday night. Love, hey Siobhan. And we're just here. We're closing the kitchen. We're communing together. Gonna get some community, gonna get some vibe, gonna get some straight talk, gonna get some heart talk. It's gonna be a wonderful time. I'm so excited. I'm so excited everybody's here. And the list keeps growing and growing and growing. I was recalling, I did this many years ago before Breaking Up with Sugar came out, and there used to be like 6 people, and I would just love all my 6 people. I love all my people. I love you deeply, deeply, deeply. So I have 2 things I want to talk about in our family meeting before I get to the topic of today. But the first thing I want to say is, if I know people have their beef with social media and all, but I guess if you're on with us, you don't have such a beef with it. But we have this community, Breaking Up a Sugar community on Facebook. And it is literally it just brings me hope in the world. And, sometimes you really need that. It's just this group of people all devoted to breaking up with sugar, creating a peaceful relationship with food and themselves. And it's just all love and support. And if you're not a part of it and you're feeling this is what I'll say all through the Bermuda Triangle, which is in my lifetime, 20 years of being a food addiction therapist and helping people to break up with sugar and find freedom. Never has it happened where somebody has said, well, I'm just too supported. I have too much support. There's just too much. Community and connection is what is our life's blood. And it's what really, really keeps us moving and grooving. And especially when times are hard. My favorite study, I know I'm a broken record, is the one that says the opposite of addiction is connection. So anyway, think about that. Here's the other thing I wanted to say before I get to the topic at hand, but it's equally, if not more important. I'm very into my hand gestures today. Equally, if not more important, is this. Over on the Facebook group, I read it all the time. I'm always on there. It's the only thing I do on Facebook is go in the Facebook group. There was a woman talking, and she said this thing 3 times. And each time she said it, it was to me. She was like, well, has anyone here also failed at this thing? Has anyone here also failed at this thing? I failed 3, something like this. I failed 3 times. And I couldn't, I was a little bit crying, a little bit heartbroken, a little bit short of, here's why. Failure is a graveyard word. Failure is a diet drama and trauma word. Failure is just it's just not a word that we can use when we are trying to establish a healthy relationship with food, when we are trying to divorce dieting, when we are trying to get rid of all this diet drama and trauma. We need to, in order to do this in a way that gives you full freedom, the thing I know for sure is that the only thing that might be harder than breaking up with sugar and flour, which is not easy, is breaking up with dieting. Which breaking up with diet mentality, it's breaking up with diet concept, and frankly, it's breaking up with the word failure because there's no relationship in your life. So if she told that story before, right? If she said, well, I think her post said something and I'm not I love whoever wrote this. You are helping all of us. You are healing all of us. So keep writing the truth. I just was too overwhelmed to write something. And I actually read it and thought, this needs to go to close the kitchen because we need to talk about what we're supposed to talk about today. But if you know me, the thing that comes into my soul is the thing I'm going to talk about. So I'm so excited that she wrote that. But if you think about diet mentality is the 4th addiction. That's what they're saying over on Facebook. Word. And it might be worse for some of us. It might be worse, like longer lasting. Like when we break up with sugar and flour, we're like, oh, that's a good point. When we, breaking up with dieting is so hard. And so, if you think, so for me, like my end game for you, the thing I want for you most of all, like most of all, beyond anything in the world, is freedom, is a loving, healthy, kind, fun, whatever you want it to be, relationship with food, because that's what you get with yourself. Like it's a 1 + 1 = 3. So if you think about like somebody who's saying, well, I could break up with sugar for 6 days and then I failed at it, and then I tried again and then I failed at it. And if you take that and you put that into the context of any other relationship in your life, you would understand why the relationship didn't work, right? And that's why reframing our language in this into loving, healthy relationship language. And if you don't know about loving, healthy relationships, what an opportunity to learn. This is so exciting. Yay! We need 1,000 reframes. I was listening to one of my teachers today, Carolyn Mace. She just wrote a new book. It is off the chain. I mean, I love the only thing I love more than Carolyn Mace's new book, Intimate Conversations with the Divine, is Close the Kitchen. That's why I'm here. But she was talking about this search for something bigger and really coming to something, and how like we crave love, right? And that's why like when we have horrible breakups, we still come to terms with that. We want to love again, right? And so if we're and I mean, there's only 2 relationships you actually need to be in this lifetime. One is with food and one is with yourself. So we have to make your heart warm and strong and make that work for you. Carrie, there's something that good lighting can really do. But thank you for your compliment. Namaste. So I want you to be constantly thinking about this languaging that you're using when it comes to your relationship with food, even when it comes to breaking up with sugar and flour, even if you're not a breaking up with sugar person, when it comes to like this diet mentality language is meant, like all it does is re-traumatize you, cause you more shame. It's so deeply moral in its language. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Like, you didn't fail diets. Like, diets failed you. Okay. You were taking an antibiotic. You were taking an aspirin when you needed an antibiotic. You're in the solution now. We are here. We are going to get this done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But we need to be changing the way that we think about this. And when we're thinking about this, using this, the most harmful F word in the English language for people like us is failure. I mean, we don't even look at it that way. We look at it as an opportunity for curiosity, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to change the way we're doing things. I mean, my loves, like, we need a whole new reframe is all I'm saying. So I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Watch your language. No use of the word failure. It's so moral. It makes you seem like the problem. And worse than that, honestly, it makes it seem like there's no solution. And I've been doing this 1,000 years with people, and you never know which one's going to stick. And you never know which bump in the road is going to be the one that gets you on the path for good. And, and life gets lifey, and life gets filled with hiccups and road bumps, and we don't think of them as failures. We just think of them as that, and then we keep on moving. And that's what you do in all healthy relationships. Yes, sometimes you need to take the car off the road or take it to the auto shop, but even that's like just a part of life. So that's my appetizer portion for you all today. So here's the other thing I want to talk about. So we were in my Wednesday group, and one of my favorite breaking up with sugar warriors, who has been breaking up with sugar almost 2 years, she said the most wonderful thing, which is effectively like that she was going to this party and it was like so hard because there was all of this food around. And as it turns out, what we got to the bottom of was that, like, in all of this COVID And I think, listen, we have been spending so much time and energy, at least, I don't know if you have, I have, and the people I hang out with, happen to hang out with a lot of people, being a coach and a therapist, but we have been spending a lot of time, focus on really, really important things. There's a lot of really, really important things going on in the world. Do not deny that. Do not deny that. And so I think in all of it, and by the way, like even me over here, right? Like, by the way, Fucked Up and Fabulous, what a fabulous scream name. Like, wow. I'm just so jealous. Molly Carmel seems so minimal. That's such a great name. Okay, sorry. Back to this topic. So we've been spending so much, like, and rightfully so. There's been like really important things happening. We really haven't been, many of us have not been in gatherings, things like that. But as she was talking, I was thinking, well, no one, she's sort of, because we have, oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting the word, but because when we make so many decisions, we have to get fatigued. And when we're focused on things, we get fatigued. There's so much fatigue and burnout going on right now with COVID and with the energy in the world and with the holidays coming up and with the loss and the grief there and with taking care of our families and with just like so much uncertain, that there's so much fatigue going on that, like, frankly, I think for many people, their food foundation becomes like third or fourth or last on the list, for rightfully so, understandably so. And we've like forgotten some of the stuff that really, really helps us to have stability and have foundation. So the thing I want to say first and foremost is, the reason that I want to talk a little bit about like foundation of food has very little to do with the shape of your body or, losing weight or things like that. I actually am of the school of like, if you have weight to release, like it's an outcome. It's not really a goal. It's something that happens as a function of figuring out the food that works for you. Usually that for people in our crew, that's like breaking up a sugar and just getting a freer, more, just calm relationship with food. Yes. So in my newsletter this week, in my love letter this week, I did link this amazing podcast that I think made so much sense for where we all are, with Dr. Brene Brown, the great love of my life. I have a secret, not so secret love affair with her. I'm going to be best friends with her one day, and you're all going to remember I said that. But she has this beautiful podcast on burnout where it makes, and especially for those of you who are working and in families and all of this, and she actually gives very actionable ways to be working on your burnout. And oh my God, I made my whole staff read. I basically sent it to about 10, this is like me, like I read something, it's amazing. And then I make like 10,000 people read it. But now I have like 10,000 people who will read it. It's a wonderful life now. So anyway, the thing about our food foundation is that if we put it under the self-care that I actually fully believe it is, and for those of you who have had some food freedom, remember how much easier other things feel when your food is in order. The thing about the story about Jenny, the client that I was talking about in the newsletter, is that when she was at this party, kind of forgetting her foundation, she wasn't like easy peasy lemon squeezy. She was like distressed and overwhelmed and felt bad, and felt shame after the experience. So to think about the food foundation and to bring in the food foundation, in my experience, and if you don't agree with me, like, that's cool. You don't have to agree on everything. But to bring the food foundation in this way is really actually to help you feel less burned out, to help you feel more capable, to help you feel more grounded. Like, if you've never done it before, it's hard to believe, but there are lots and lots of people who are online right now who have had that kind of freedom, and there's really nothing like it. It seems, and it just makes life a little bit easier when this one thing is in order, and what you have to do is self-love. And so then you're like kind of living in self-love. I'm telling you, it's actually like 1 + 1 is 7. It's not even like 1 + 1 is 3. So I've been talking so much about self-love and about shame and like about feelings, and like, healing is in the feeling, my loves. Like, I believe it, like pinky swear up and down. But as we're moving into flu season, and as we're moving into Bermuda Triangle Thanksgiving, and as we're moving into Bermuda Triangle Christmas, I think I want to take a minute and go into the most simple, grounded place, which is our food, and which is what to do about our food right now, right? And talking about some of the skills around food, like planning, like meal regulation, things like that. Talk a little bit about community, talk about skills, get us back into the purest form of this for us, because I want you to know that there's such a better way, and you deserve that if you deserve anything. So that's what we're going to be talking about in Close the Kitchen. But here's my big ask. Here's my big ask for you. Can you let me know if there's something that I'm missing that you need me to talk about? Can you leave me comments? Can you leave me thoughts? Can you leave me feelings? Can you leave me likes and shares? Only if you're up for it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I think we should be talking about, but like, we're a community, we're a crew. So I really need to know what you want us to be thinking about. And you can leave me DMs, and you can leave me I don't know. However, I'm like a little rotary phone, but you know how to do that. And it really means a lot to me. I do it all the time. I always respond. You'll see, to my social life chagrin. I am obsessed with you, and you well know that. So every Monday night. So also I want to say one thing, which is about connection and community. One of my best friends, Michelle, who sends her food to me every day. I just finished dinner. I had 2 turkey burgers. They're delicious. And I am like, so she wrote to me, okay, this is what I have for dinner. My kitchen is closed, right? And I wrote back to her, my kitchen is locked. And because I'm just had a really long day. And so I know I'm vulnerable. And here's what I said to her, which is what I will say to you. I said, and I just want to remind myself, Michelle, that nobody starved to death between dinner and breakfast. People have starved to death. That's for certain. But nobody starved to death between dinner and breakfast. So I closed my kitchen with her at about 7:30, but we close the kitchen together at the end of every Close the Kitchen. And so what we do is we put our hands, so get ready to close the kitchen, please, 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 and start closing it whenever you'd like. We put our hands on our hearts. We put our hands on our hearts for ourselves, for the self-love of ourselves, for the love of our community, for the love of our community who doesn't know they're in our community yet, for those who are struggling outside of our community. And just because we are so strong together, we put our hands on our hearts for the world at large, who needs us now more than ever, needs us awake, needs us alive, needs us broken up with sugar and there. So we are closing the kitchen. Barbara has closed the kitchen, and Lisa has closed the kitchen. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Let's see it, my friends, my dear, dear, dear loves. Sometimes it takes a minute with the lag on Facebook and Instagram. I'm learning slowly but surely. Amazing. Who else is Julie? Close the kitchen. Amazing. Amazing. Kristen is closing the kitchen. She's opening it to make it for her son, which is fine, but she's not going to eat in it. Chira, close the kitchen. Adrian, Protestant Angel, fucked up and fabulous. Close the kitchen, girl. Love it. Anne will close the kitchen on West Coast time. Jean's closed the kitchen. Angela's closed the kitchen. I'm so glad. We love to have you here, Angela. Thank you so much for coming. Joanna's closed the kitchen. Laura's closed the kitchen. Amazing, my people. Amazing, amazing. Who else is closing the kitchen? It's a quiet night for closing the kitchen. Well, here's the deal. Oh, Nicole closing it later in the West Coast. Nicolene's closing it later in the West Coast. Great, great. So here's the deal, my loves. I believe in you wholeheartedly. We do this every single Monday night, 8 o'clock. Be there, be square. Leave me ideas, comments, messages, likes, all the same. And know that I'm here rooting hard for you. And if someone hasn't told you that they love you today, I love you deeply, deeply, deeply. I'm sending you everything good from the bottom of my heart. And we'll do it all again next week. Love, love, love. Bye.